Hi, welcome to my class on Illustrator CS6 and Illustrator CC, where I'm going to go through all of the basics of Illustrator, how to use it, even if you have no Illustrator knowledge at all. Show you from start to finish through a series of videos of really how to use Illustrator. All right. Let me go ahead and get right started. We're going to start with how to make a document, where to find Illustrator and stuff. All right, so let's transition over here to the desktop. We are using Windows, um, and over here we're going to check out the Start button, obviously, and most people who use Windows knows how to go to the Start button. Now, Illustrator, especially in the new Creative Cloud, you'll find that Illustrator will be right up here, especially if you use it. If you don't see it, you're going to need to press the All Programs button down here. Once you press the All Programs button, you'll see a list on the top above the folders. Sometimes you'll see these folders first. Scroll up and you will find all the different Adobe software. Okay? When you buy Creative Cloud, you'll have access to a ton of different Adobe software. That's why you see so much here. But right now we're going to focus on here, which is Adobe Illustrator CS6. Well, not CS6-CC, Creative Cloud 2015. Lastly, though, it is important for me to mention, if you type in the word Illustrator, it'll actually search for those programs up down here on the bottom here, okay? That's important to note. Let's go ahead and start the program. Obviously, as this is starting, let's talk to you for a second. Illustrator CC has a lot of really cool features, but to be honest and be straightforward on here, there's not too many differences in these kind of this software between Illustrator CS6, Illustrator CC 2014, and Illustrator 2015. If you're downloading directly from Adobe right now, you will be downloading Adobe CC 2015, which is their newest version of the software. All right, let's go ahead and go back. First thing I want to do is show you what we're going to go over. We're going to be going over opening it from Windows, which we just did, creating a new document, advanced document controls, okay, modifying your documents, how to modify it after you make it, how to save the changes, and how to close the documents. Okay? Now, here we are. There's a couple different ways to open a new document within Illustrator. One is you're going to see this awesome little welcome screen here, okay, which shows new features and getting started and tips and techniques, and even going over all the new features. There's a create, there's print documents, web documents, device documents, but a lot of this has to do with specific instances of Illustrator. Most of the time you're going to be doing here, which is the print documents. The difference between a lot of these is color. You can make adjustments and transition from a lot of these different documents just by changing a lot of the features inside the documents we're about to go over. The second way to open it, though, is important. Up here in File, right, you'll see that there's a drop down and you can create a new document here, or as a lot of people like to say, Control N. Control N is definitely a good way to go. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start a new document. I'm going to close this behind it. Let's zoom in here so that you guys can really see what's going on. Okay, one thing that we're going to do is we're going to change the name. Okay, so I'm going to change it to new document. All right, let's call it 2015 because it is 2015 right now. All right, the profile, just like the profile you saw on that welcome page, print, web, device, and film. A lot of different, most of the differences you're going to see in here is either the size of the actual documents available and or the color palette that they have available. Okay, like I said, we're just for beginners. We're going to stick with print. Okay. Next is the number of artboards. An artboard is basically a section when you create the new document of where the different areas for emphasis for print. These are the areas that you're going to print on, or you're going to use for web. All the other areas outside of it is actually not going to be applicable in the final document. All right. So the artboard here is 1. You can switch it to 2. So if you have more than one artboard, you'll notice that you can put spacing in between them. Right now we have this is set up to the basic thing, which is it usually uses the point system. Later we'll discuss how to change this to different kinds of things like inches or centimeters, depending on what you're used to or comfortable with. One thing that I want you to realize is it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things what the actual preference is. It will always let you do what you're comfortable with if you're willing to actually type in what you want. So if I want this to be inches, I can go 0.25 inches, then go ahead and space out of it, and it will automatically translate it. So according to Adobe Illustrator, quarter inch is actually 18 points. All right, you can do the same thing over here. You can put in another one, 0.5 centimeters, and it will translate that as well. It's saying that is 14.7 points. Kind of neat. One thing about the point system, though, that's important to note is that if you notice in centimeters, it gave it a a decimal value of 0.17, and inches was normal. Points is actually based on inches. A lot of people don't know that. So when you see 12 points, it's actually like a third of an sixth of an inch. We could go over that later, but in all reality, it's just really important that points is actually based off of inches. All right, so let's go ahead and just go back to where it was originally, which is 20 points. All right, but we're only going to have one artboard to begin with. Now, size. Size is pretty much letters, 8.5 by 11. Legal, which is 8.5 by 14. Tabloid, which is 11 by 17. And then you have A4, A3, B5, and B4, which is actually standards for printing in Europe and other countries. Okay? So, since we're in America, we're going to go ahead and just do 8.5 by 11, which most people are things. 8.5 by 11. Which, if you see, 8.5 by 11 is 612 points by 792 points. Okay? If you want, you can see over here, we can change it to inches, and you can instantly see that there's inches there. Next thing that it's going to have you figure out is bleeds, which is right here. Okay? Bleeds have to do with when you have a color that goes past your page, that color actually has to extend past that page. Okay? When we go into some of the other stuff later, I'll actually show you examples of bleeds, but there's suffice to say most printed documents in this day have a bleed in some way, so that the printer has an extension of what it needs of the actual image so that it could cut it off the exact type, the exact thing. So if you look at most postcards or business cards, you'll see a color that extends, or an item, or a picture that extends past the page. Believe it or not, that image actually extends past that page. So we're going to go in 0.25 inches, which is pretty standard. A lot of times I'll go 0.25 inches, which is 1/8 of an inch. All right, so that's where I'm going to go right now. Let's go ahead and look at the advanced for a second. These are the color modes that I was talking about. Print is CMYK, which is cyan, magenta, yellow, and K, which K is black. Okay, so CMYK. All right. Raster effect is how many. One thing about Illustrator is that Illustrator is based on line art. Vector drawing, which is actual points instead of a picture, it's actually you're telling the computer how to create this document through points. Rasterizing is basically the image where it can't actually point value it out. It actually has to build it. So that's where that is. I usually leave that at 300 ppi, and then there's different preview modes which we'll go into later. That's pretty complicated stuff. Alright, so I'm going to say OK. It's going to go ahead and make that document. Let's zoom out. You can see it on the screen. Boom. Love it. Alright, so that's really how you create a document. If you want to make changes to a document, let's say that you went, oops, I don't want it to be 8.5 by 11. I actually want it to be vertical, not horizontal. I want it to be 11 by 8.5. So there's a button over here. All right, this button is the artboard button. Okay, this button right here. If you don't see it, it's right here. So I'm going to click it, and it's actually going to give me some of the same areas over here about how to adjust the artboard. Okay. So, if you notice that it has 8.5 by 11, all right, there's a button here to change it from portrait to landscape. So I'm going to do that, and it's actually going to flip it. Now it is 11 by 8.5 inches. Okay. I can also manually, from these edges, make changes. Okay. So I can make it, and if you notice, it's giving me indicator. If you don't see that indicator, we'll have a video up later of how to change that, but most of the time you're going to see this indicator, and it's going to allow you to change it. I'm going to press Control-Z to undo that, okay? But one thing that I'm going to do is you can also, based off of this right here, reference point, make different changes in these, all right, values, which is horizontal and vertical value. So if I wanted to make this a 8.5 by 5.5 inch document, and I want it from the left hand side, okay, I made that reference point right here on the left hand side. I'm going to say it is now 8.5 by 5.5, and it's going to take it, if you noticed, right from, started from the left and took all the information from the right. Okay, I'm going to undo that again. We can do it from the other side if we want. This comes really important in later lessons, okay? So this is an important thing to master and to know where all these buttons are. So now I want to go to make that 5.5. It's 8.5 or half a page. This is a half a page, guys. All right? So let's undo that. It's a good thing to note. All right? So that's how you create and make edits to the document. You can actually go to the document setting and change a few more of these buttons. You can't change the actual artboard, but you can change the bleed from here. That can be important. And there's actually even additional stuff to make changes to change the transparency in the background, to make it so that people can see outlines. You can go to edit artboards. You can do all sorts of cool stuff, okay? Let's say OK to that right now. But that's how you create and modify your document. If you want to save it, there's 3 ways to save it. There's a couple more ways, but that's going to have to come from later lessons because they become a little bit more advanced and specialized savings. But first one is to save, which is going to open up a document so I can save this. I'm going to save it in a new folder in my desktop. Okay, which I'm going to make the new folder here, make a new folder that says Illustrator 2015. Alright, let's go ahead and save that document and make changes to it. Save it. It's going to give me different versions. Most of the time you're just going to save it in the version that you're actually creating it. A lot of these options, like create PDF compatible files, embed ICC profiles, use compression, can be really advanced functions. You don't need those right now, okay? Go ahead and just leave all these check marks, Okay, we're going to say OK. There's another way of saving it, which is to save as a copy. So that means that it's going to, if I want to save a copy and leave this word copy here, okay, I'll save it just like we did before. But if you notice, this title didn't change, okay, because this is where the title of the actual document is due. So if I go File, Open, you'll see that there's now that copy, all right, without saving your original document. And that can be a really nice feature within Illustrator itself. The other thing is to, you know what, that's all we're going to focus on right now. I use the save as. You wanted to save as and actually rename the document, so document 2. That was the other feature I missed. I apologize. That will actually save the document, but not save a copy. So if I go to open, you'll see now there's 3 separate saves on here. Okay, so there is the original, there's the copy I made, and then there's the version 2. Okay, I use these 3 save features in every single document that I make. Knowing where these save features are, knowing how to use them, knowing how to manipulate them for your needs can make or break saving or even losing some of the information that you're making within Illustrator. Very important thing. All right. Lastly, we're going to learn how to close a document. 2 main ways to close a document. One is there's a little X up here. You can actually close the document up here. Or a Control W, you can close it right here. All right. So that's it for how to make a document. I hope you enjoyed that. And there's going to be a lot more videos up here in the future, and we'll see if we can really learn how to do Illustrator and make it work for you. All right. Thanks for joining me.